Kita! Come here, girl.
There is no spoon. There is no spoon.
There's no spoon. There's no spoon.
There is no spoon. There is no spoon.
There's no spoon. There's no spoon.
A thumbnail-sized little devil frog must return to feed on the forest floor, leaving her young exposed to the predators that hunt around bromeliad pools. But Mum has a plan. She gorges on tiny, poisonous ants. But this ingenious frog can assimilate ant toxins into a much more potent compound, making her skin fatal to the touch. Now she needs to pass her poison power to her young. In each pool, she lays a single unfertilized egg, laced with neurotoxins. And as the tadpoles eat, poison releases from the egg and floods the nursery pool.
Well, let's see if that worked. Good morning, my beauties and bees, and welcome back to the Hive. It's been it's been a long time since I let red flags take control, so I'm back. Back in full clown corn or clown corn. Well, I do like corn, yeah. Clown corn makeup, ready to rock and start this spooky season off right. I am the ringmaster. You are my circus. Let's go. All right. Good morning. Welcome to Live from the Hive. I'm your host, Miss Bumblebee, as coming at you today is Red Flags, the clown. It is October 4th, 2025. It is 8:38 a.m. And yeah, I'm in my clown morph. Absolutely. It is that season. Before I go any further, I want to thank Who's Your Buddy for gifting 10 memberships. I don't know if these people are actually hanging around or not, but those went to KJ, Joshua Davidson, Math Pig, Cosmic Kyle, Sophia of Athens, Inquisitive Quandary, Mark Reed, Punk to Pastor, Scott Owens, oh no, Scott Owen, just one Owen, not plural, and to Heckleck. So welcome to the Hive. Y'all can stomp across the screen with your Bigfoot tracks if you're live in the chat and want me to see ya. And I'll give you a shout out if you're here live and you received one of those. I was raised around bluegrass. One of the most famous bluegrass festivals takes place 10 minutes from where I grew up. I love bluegrass. Hey, hey, hey. Bluegrass. Speaking of bluegrass, should I be a banjo clown? A banjo clown? But that's kind of out of tune. Anyway, I have to tune it up if I'm going to play. Do you love clowns? Though there's a poll going on. Do you like the clowncore look? I love doing clowncore. It like calls me back. I was never like a juggalette. I was married to one. My ex-wife was one. But and she was fine. I mean, as far as people go, and a lot of people say that juggalos and stuff are like terrible people, but it's not been my experience. I usually get along pretty well with them. A lot better than like the most evangelicals that I've met. Let's see. What else do we have going on in the side chat? Yeah, good morning, everybody. I don't know if I said good morning to a few people, but I'm going to go ahead and go through everybody again. So, good morning, Artemis, Sandy, a native atheist. Good morning, friends. Sandy and native atheist have been with me since pretty much the beginning of the channel. So, what are we're going on like 5 years now. Can you all believe it? I've been doing this crap for 5 years. Good morning, Ember. Good morning, Jake. Howdy. Who else we got? We got Dr. Mordecai. Hello there, friend. And then we had the super chats. Who's your buddy? Good morning, friend. Accurse is here. Wild World, happy spooky season to you too. Regios. Hi. We have. Yeah, that'll do it. Good morning, everybody. Got people rolling in. When you roll in, just say hey. And we'll if you've received a gift membership, let me know by stomping Bigfoot footprints across there, like we see Jake doing, and like we see native atheists doing, because they know how to do those Bigfoot stomps. It's hard to hear me, huh? Let me see if I can fix that. Do I sound really distant? Yep, I can probably fix that. Dotty. Yeah, my microphone was like way down. But I'm squealing and yelling all over the place too. Is that better? I just don't want to peek. Was it Regios that said that? I want to apologize. I should be dysphoric for a second there, saying my voice was really low. I'm like, my voice is just the same as it's always been. Hopefully you can hear me better now. Poor person version. Yeah, you just have normal human feet when you have the little feet. What's the difference between a juggler and a juggler? One works as a vein and the other works in vain. All right. Good morning. I'm unable to renew my membership at this time due to not having much income. I hear that. I feel that. Regios, thank you so much. Oh my gosh, thank you so much, friend. Dropped another 5 gift memberships, and they went to Malay, Becca Albright, Leo Filius, Who's Your Buddy, Susan Turpin, SoCal Mikey. So yeah, y'all, welcome to the Hive. If you show up in the side chat, also stomp across the screen. Let me see some love. Yes, it's much easier to hear you now. Yeah. I don't know if it's my system or what, but like every like I go to Talk Studio, I go to Streamlabs, I go to I haven't in Zoom in a long time, but any of the ones I go to, it's the volume's always different, and I have to change it all the time. So sometimes I have to drop it down, sometimes I have to pick it up. But I usually leave this one about 50% on my mic so I can sit back a little bit like this without it peaking. Like if I lean in, it starts to peak, right? But I'm not very good at audio stuff. That's probably why my musician career didn't take off, because I couldn't do my own audio stuff. I can tune. I could be a guitar tech, but like, yeah. Anyway, let's without further ado, because the alarm's about to go. There it goes. Without further ado, let's go to the polls. Let's visit the polls. Okay, so polls time. Also, this sorceress kit, which I actually think is kind of cool. But we have... Oh yeah, there was another poll for spooky season week. What do you all think is creepier? A haunted house, a haunted painting, a haunted doll, or a haunted guitar? And you all said it was the haunted doll, which I think I probably agree. If I was given this poll, I'd probably agree. Haunted dolls are. It's because the Uncanny Valley, and they have hands that they can murder you with. Being murdered by a doll is worse than being murdered by a human. I hope I'm not scaring anybody. Good morning, How to Rule an Asteroid. Alright, anyway, I was getting to the polls. Somebody had a really big problem with this meme, too. It was really funny. Go check that out if you go to the community page. You can see it in the comments. Like, we had a whole conversation here. It was really weird. Alright, here is the polls for today. Alright, so... spook lights. Also, if you want to vote on any of the polls, they're usually open on Sunday. Sometimes I open them on Saturday if I feel froggy, but usually they're open by Sunday. Sometimes I guess late though. Anyway, so this week we had on the poll is Mahamba. It's a huge a legendary crocodile from the Congo Basin, I believe. We'll find out when we cover it. So if you want to find out, you got to vote for that one. Then we had the Men in Black, MIB, but not the Will Smith getting jiggy with it. Men in Black, the creepy 1960s agency or agents that act all shady and shit and follow UFO witnesses around and stuff. Yeah, well, you'll find out if you vote for it. So it's on the list. They had spook lights. Spook lights, we'll probably focus mainly on the Joplin spook lights, but there's a lot of spook lights around there, so, or around the country, around the world, that we'll need to cover. And it's going to be, it has to, for it to be considered spook lights for this category, it has to be recurring now. So if you have a local spook light legend that's recurring, especially if there's video footage of it, send it to me so I can add it to the playlist, and we'll go through that. But who won was Goatman. There's not just one Goatman though. Goatmen live all over the country. That's why I dressed in clowncore, because clowncore is the way to seduce a Goatman. Like if you want to get a Goatman, you got to dress like this and be like, "Hey, Mr. Goatman, nice horns you got there." But Goatmen come from Texas, they come from Kentucky, come from Missouri, and they come from Maryland. There's Goatmen out there if you know where to look. But we're going to talk about it in just a minute. But before we do, let's see what we're covering after that. So, this week we had the crystal powers on the list. If you want to learn about crystal power, you have to vote for that. And we had Vampires of Tartaria, which is, I don't know if you're familiar with the Tartarian mythology, but if you aren't, you're missing out. It's a wild ride. I gotta answer a question from the chat. What are spook lights? Well, generally they are orbs of light in the distance that appear repetitively, that have multiple sightings of them. Sometimes they'll race across a certain tract. Sometimes they'll appear in a certain district, but they are of unknown origin, and some people feel like they have some intelligence behind them. But yeah, if you want to do Vampires of Tartaria, you vote for that. Secrets of the Last Supper. I gotta teach the secrets. This is like Bible code shit. So you want to see that, you gotta stick around. But today we're talking about the Lost City, not the Lost Cut. I don't know what the Lost Cut is. It's a typo on my phone. But Shangri-La, and it's Shangri-La and Shambala, but Shangri-La is what we probably know it more of as in the Western world, because of Shangri-La is like the fictional name for it. We'll get into that when we get to it, though. But that's the polls for today. So I've also kind of shuffled things around. So before the Cryptic Corner intro, there will be the song, whatever the song is. Whether it's Alex Jones singing or something like that. But today we're celebrating spooky season with gothy goats. The brown mountain lights are a good example of spook lights, right? Yes, thank you. That's a great example. The Joplin lights, the brown mountain lights, things like that. There's ones over at Lake Michigan as well that appear. They make Lake Michigan lights. Anyway, Canadian Goatman. I don't have any Canadian Goatman today. It's just American Goatman. If you have Canadian Goatmen, send them to me, and we'll do a Canadian Goatman episode at some point. We're gonna have to do a more, like, that's why it says, because when I was looking into it, I'm like, oh, Goatman, that's gonna be a good one. I'm like, man, I already found 5 in just the U.S. alone, and there's more around the rest of the world. So maybe I need to focus this, slim this down more. I did the same thing with the Healing Springs. I was like, oh man, well, Healing Springs of Dixie, maybe, because even the U.S. has a lot more healing springs that I could cover in a single episode. All right. Well, I think it's time, if you all are up for it, the Hudson Valley Lights. Yes. Thank you. That's another good set. So, yeah, you got to vote for it to be on the polls, though. So you can't just say it in the chat here. You actually, when the new polls come up tomorrow, they might be up this evening. I don't know. When they do come up tomorrow, if you want to do the next episode on spook lights, they're perfect for spooky season. Of course, everything here is perfect for spooky season, but Cryptic Corner is perfect for spooky season, right? Right? All right. So, yeah, the spook lights out here. So you got to come vote for it. We'll cover the Hudson Valley Lights, the Brown Mountain Lights, the Joplin Lights. We'll tackle it all. We'll look at them too and see if we can't figure out what it is, because some of them, there's a lot of theories for a lot of them. But I'm like meandering around that topic now. We need to get to Cryptic Corner. Am I right? So yeah, okay. Go out to the polls and vote. Absolutely. And if you do vote and you have spook lights that you want to see covered, then you also just put those in the comments down below. Like, you'll vote spook lights, and you'll be like, oh, make sure you cover the Hudson Valley Lights underneath in the comments so that we know. And also, I'm trying to encourage you all to engage with my community board, because that gets me more recognition, right? The more engagement that I have with my polls and stuff, we all comment, you thumbs up on them, whatever, the better. Yeah, and then I run them out. I used to run the polls in a few different places, but I got tired of having to calculate all the time what the percentages were manually, so I just do them on the channel now. It's the only place where you'll see them. All right, and yeah. That goes for any of the topics too. Like, if I'm like, say on the poll for you wanted to do Vampires of Tartaria, but you wanted to make sure that I mention Bram Stoker or something, right? So then you put like, does Dracula exist in Tartaria in the comments? And then I would try to make sure to incorporate that. Anyway, let's get over to Cryptic Corner. I will see you guys just in a few minutes. I'll be right with you. Hello, my beauties and bees, and welcome to another installment of Cryptic Corner, where we explore the unexplained, the supernatural, the paranormal and hidden, the mysterious, the alien, the accursed, and the forbidden. I'm your host, Miss Bumblebee, and welcome to our episode about the sexy Goatmen of folklore. I meant to have a picture of Goatman over here to the what's on this side of me over here, but I didn't get it put up in time, so you'll just have to use your imagination about how sexy Goatman can be. So I could put up pictures of Goatman that would get the channel taken down. Cheers. Now, this is a show that we do every week live from the Hive is when we record it. Saturday mornings. That's at it's 8:30 here in Mountain Time. That's 9:30 Central. But we generally get this started closer to 9 Mountain Time or 10 Central. So keep that in mind if you wanted to be in the side chat for Cryptic Corner. And you too can choose what we cover on Cryptic Corner by going out to the polls and voting on the community page for Hive Sci. All right. And if you want to be there in the morning, you can participate with this live audience you see over here, chitter chatter, and you can be part of that. You can be part of those cool kids who turn up every Saturday morning to hang out, drink coffee from my Christmas coffee mug, because nothing says spooky season like Christmas coffee mug. But hey, all things considered, it'll probably be around Christmas time before this is published for the Cryptic Corner segment on Friday night. So there's that. This isn't really going to be a spooky season episode on there. It's a spooky season episode now, and I'll dress up every day, every chance I get. Y'all are going to see me in full costume, because Halloween's a full month for me. Okay, so when it comes to Goatmen, there's a lot to choose from. A lot of Goatmen to choose from. And a lot of... I didn't want to just do a video on each one specifically. Do I know this aesthetic? This aesthetic? This is called clowncore. Clowncore. It's a mix of like punk and goth with circus aesthetic. I don't know if that's what you were asking about, but Oh, hold on. I recently saw a YouTube short with a lady dressed in clowncore, but she was calling it haunt. It was DIY how to put spark pads on the bottom of your shoes. When you drag your feet, they spark. Oh, that's cool. I didn't see that comment before. Yeah, I call this clowncore. That's what I've always found. It's like, yeah, like gothy, clowny kind of look. But hi Eva from Twitch. Good to see you this morning. It's good to see you. Welcome to the Hive. All right, so when it comes to Goatman, I've narrowed it down to 5 that we're going to cover today. And we're going to start with the Pope Lick monster, who's a Goatman. This one's also the longest video I found. So, again, let me know about the audio like you did when I was having mic issues at the beginning of the show. Yeah, let me know. All right.
Before this video begins, I want to clearly state that under no circumstance should you ever go walking along railroad tracks, much less go walking on a railroad bridge. It is extremely dangerous and it is a federal offense.
Oh my gosh, I spent my childhood walking down railroad tracks and crossing bridges. I don't recommend it to anybody to do. It's a good way to get yourself like seriously hurt. I knew a guy from the same area who did get hit by a train. Of course, he got hit by a train down in the St. Louis area. Had no legs, so yeah. It's a bad idea, but yeah, it was the 90s.
Now that that's out of the way, enjoy the video. Located just east of Louisville, Kentucky, in the parklands of Floyd's Fork, sits an old, rusted railroad bridge.
Am I scaring people away with my clowncore makeup? I thought I looked cute as hell.
The bridge would seem to be nothing out of the ordinary, with hundreds, if not thousands, of similar bridges existing across the U.S. This one, however, has become the subject of one of the most well-known urban legends in the state of Kentucky. An urban legend that has claimed the lives of over a dozen people and has injured countless more.
I think next week I'm going to be a vampire, though. I do have my vampire stuff in my chest over here, my chest of cosplay.
This bridge is the Pope Lick Trestle. Built by the Louisville Southern Railroad, the Pope Lick Trestle stands 90 feet tall.
It's a little cherry nose, right? It's cute. I have a bigger one, but I don't like it because it has black straps that go across my face, so I don't wear it. The only reason hold on, let me go get it though. I think it's right over here. Yeah. The only time I like it is if I'm gonna be like in the dark or something, because it flickers, but it'll cause I don't cause anybody a seizure either, so yeah. And it doesn't have like a solid flicker pattern either, or a slower flicker pattern at all. It just does that really fast one. Yeah. My vampire look's gonna have my my sunglasses. I'll probably use this same hat with the vampire look. I'll just turn it around like that maybe, or I might not wear a hat at all. It depends. I have because it's got the high collar that comes with it too.
772 feet long. It was part of the Louisville Southern's main line, which ran between Louisville and Harrodsburg. Construction of the line started in 1884 and was finished in 1888. It was owned and operated by the Louisville Southern Railroad for only 6 years, as in 1894, the railroad was incorporated into the Southern Railway. The trestle was then owned by the Southern Railway until 1982, when the Southern Railway merged with the Norfolk and Western Railway to create Norfolk Southern, who operates trains on the trestle to this day.
And if you want to operate a train on the trestle, you can go to adamandeve.com and enter code word Brentley.
The first incident to be
Am I doing it right, Ember?
widely reported involving the trestle occurred in 1909, when several cars on a freight train derailed while crossing the trestle, causing one to fall to the ground below. Other than this incident, there was little mention of the bridge in its early days. It wasn't until the 1950s that the bridge began getting more attention, and there began to be rumors of a creature living in the woods that surrounded the trestle. According to the legend of the Poplick Monster,
Yeah, just a creature at this point. It'll become a goat later on in the mythology.
the area around the trestle is haunted by a creature that is said to be half man, half goat. Some rumors say that the monster was part of a circus and escaped after the circus train derailed near the trestle. Others say that the monster is the reincarnation of a farmer who sacrificed goats in exchange for satanic powers. The monster is said to mimic voices, as well as use hypnosis, to lure his victims up onto the trestle. Some accounts of the legend say he then tricks his victims by making them hear the sounds of a train, causing them to jump off in an attempt to escape. Others
There's like an old B movie.
say that he reveals himself to his victims once they are on the trestle, again causing them to jump out of fear. Finally, some say he lures his victims onto the trestle when a train is approaching, so that they will have no option but to either be hit by the train or jump to their death.
Thank you for the fair and constructive criticism, Spooky. Thank you so much. 50% off almost anything. One item, 6 of any one item, 6 free movies, 3 free gifts, and a free shipping on whole order. Oh my goodness.
The true origins of the Poplick Monster legend are not entirely clear, but the most likely explanation is that it started with a man by the name of Charles McCartney. McCartney is most well known for being a religious figure in Georgia during the mid-1900s. In 1935, after experiencing a religious awakening, McCartney began to travel the United States, preaching a message of eternal damnation for sinners. He traveled with a caravan of up to 30 goats and wore goatskin clothes, earning himself the nickname the Goatman. During his travels, McCartney camped near the Poplick Trestle at least once, staying for several days. People from the surrounding areas would come to meet him, and by many accounts he was friendly and quick to share a sermon. The downside of visiting him was that he and his goats reportedly smelled quite bad. It is believed that in the years following his visit, parents would tell their children not to go near the trestle or the Goatman would get them.
Well, he seems like just a dude. I mean, I don't know why people would tell him that he'd tell kids that he would get them. That seems discourteous to what the man actually was kind of standing for, right?
In an attempt to scare their children from playing on the train tracks.
That's just my opinion.
Thus, the legend of the Goatman was born.
As stories of the Goatman began to spread, more and more people were drawn to the woods surrounding the Poplick Trestle in search of him. People climbing up on the trestle itself also became a much more common occurrence as they tried to get the Goatman to show himself.
The trestle had initially been built with a narrow walkway alongside the tracks, intended for use only by railroad employees and for emergency situations. However, as more and more people began to climb on the trestle, the Southern Railway decided to remove the walkway, attempting to deter people from crossing the bridge.
Yeah, but now it makes people have to get on the actual tracks instead.
This became a controversial decision, with some people arguing that without the walkway, individuals on the bridge had no escape from oncoming trains, while others argued that the narrow platform didn't offer enough space to be safe from the train, and that the people shouldn't be up there in the first place.
I'll just put a keep out sign and a gate. That would work, right? I mean, as much as any kind of keep out sign works for dangerous places.
As interest in the legend of the Goatman grew, filmmaker Ron Schildknecht began planning a short film based around the supposedly haunted trestle. In 1986, filming began, with most scenes taking place in the area surrounding the trestle. Scenes depicting the characters on the trestle itself, however, were shot at a different, much safer location.
Okay. I was wondering about that when I showed the one earlier with the guy in the costume. Was that the Goatman down on the ground?
On December 29th, 1988, the legend of the Popelic monster was released to the public, much to the dismay of officials from the Norfolk Southern.
How about this, Spooky? And if you want to lick a pope, no, that doesn't work. Okay, we'll try. We'll keep trying. We'll keep trying. We'll learn. We're learning.
Away. Officials from the railroad feared that it would encourage even more people to attempt crossing the trestle in search of the Goatman. One scene found to be particularly problematic involved the main character hanging off the side of the trestle in order to escape the train. In reality,
that's straight up from Lost Boys, though, right? That's like not a new concept. You have seen Lost Boys, right? The vampire movie, and they're all hanging from the trestle. A gang of vampires.
Few people would have the strength required to hang onto the trestle for the up to 5 minutes it takes for a train to cross. This led to the railway issuing a statement which would be read at the premiere, warning of the dangers of attempting to cross the trestle and informing the audience that anyone found on the trestle would be prosecuted for trespassing. These concerns were certainly not without reason, as in the time it had taken to make the film, there had been 2 fatal accidents on the bridge. In 1986, David Wayne Bryant, age 19, had been seriously injured while jumping from the bridge to escape a train. He would pass away as a result of his injuries in May of 1987. Also in 1987, Jack Charles Baum II, age 17, was struck and killed by a train as he attempted to cross the trestle.
Just don't walk on trestles. Seems like a good advice. In general, you can't beat a train. You're not faster than a train. So,
somewhat common misconception, especially among people that don't live in the area, that the Popelic trestle is unused and abandoned. In reality, it carries one of Norfolk Southern's main lines out of Louisville. In just the 2 hours I've been here filming this morning, there's already been 4 trains go past.
I had to close the window. Peeps are out there hanging with the pups.
This misconception was the case for Rochelle Bain and her boyfriend, David Nee. On April 23, 2016, they were on a trip from Dayton, Ohio to take a haunted tour of the Waverly Hills Sanatorium. They would never make it to their tour. On their way to the sanatorium, the pair decided to take a detour and stop at the Popelic trestle to search for the Goatman. During their search, they attempted to walk across the trestle, but before they could safely reach the other side, they were met with an approaching train. I mentioned earlier that it's unlikely that someone could hang from the trestle, but it's not impossible, as Nee managed to escape injury by doing just that. Bain, on the other hand, wasn't so lucky, and was struck by the train. She was pronounced dead at the scene, a result of multiple blunt force injuries and the subsequent fall.
Sanatorium. Well, sanatorium's different than a sanitarium, too. Sanatoriums were for people with tuberculosis. So everything had to be sanitized and super clean, and the air had to be sterilized. Well, they did their best to keep it sterilized anyway. and keep humidity levels down. They'd like have dehumidifiers running and stuff like that. Whereas a sanitarium was for people with a myriad of mental health conditions that were, bunched into horrific conditions and not given anything would be considered proper treatment.
From the trestle.
A woman with an opinion could end up in a sanitarium.
The accident, in an interview with the Courier-Journal, Nee was quoted as saying, "When I saw the bridge, the thing looked so rickety, I thought it was out of service."
The most recent fatal accident to occur here at the trestle was in 2019, when 15-year-old Savannah Bright was hit by a train as she attempted to cross the bridge. A friend that was with her suffered serious injuries but did survive. After the accident, a cross was placed here at the base of the trestle in her memory.
That's kind of sad. And this is a good, because a lot of cryptid mythology, right, is built around these remote places, like lovers' lanes, bridges, tunnels, where as a cautionary tale, right? I mean, really, that at its root, it's a cautionary tale. It's the Hookman folklore, teaching kids to not venture into, because the Goatman has literally claimed more lives this way than any other way, by the legend encouraging people to come out and walk on the trestle. So you could really say the Goatman legend is a fatal legend. In 2019, up until basically just a few years ago, 6 years ago? Yeah. As of this recording, 6 years ago. This isn't something long ago and far away, and people still do this stuff. Mm-hmm. I'm just going ahead and giving the moment of silence here. Hopefully it starts back up here in a second, but I felt disrespectful to talk over it, so we'll continue.
In the aftermath of the incident, her parents filed a lawsuit against Norfolk Southern, accusing them of not taking measures to deter people from crossing the trestle.
They removed the walkway. I would anticipate that there's signage somewhere about, hey, don't walk on the trestle. It's a federal offense to walk on the bridge, something like that. Trespassers will be prosecuted.
The lawsuit stated that Norfolk Southern should have known that the unsecured trestle was attractive to pedestrians. It also claimed that Norfolk Southern left dangerous access points open to the trestle and failed to warn people about trespassing.
Now, I find the phrasing of these claims to be interesting to say the least. At each end of the trestle, there's a chain link fence, topped with barbed wire and covered in no trespassing signs as well as danger signs. The trestle also doesn't have a footpath, only the railroad tracks, and walking on the trestle would be considered trespassing on railroad property, which is a federal crime.
None of these things are what I think of when I hear
think the parents probably just want accountability on that.
Phrase, attractive to pedestrians. The trestle is also about as secure as it can be without blocking the tracks off entirely. Even Jeffersontown Fire Chief Sean Dreisbach stated in an interview that there is no way to properly secure the trestle or keep people from trespassing. Another claim the lawsuit made was that the driver of the train failed to slow, brake, slacken speed, or stop the train to avoid the deadly collision. In reality, a loaded freight train can take over a mile to come to a complete...
Right, that's not fair to the driver. Oh my gosh. Could you imagine being the person driving this train and getting that accusation thrown at you? That dude's probably in therapy. I just assume it's a man. Jesus, that person. I don't know why a conductor in my brain is always a guy, but yeah, there are definitely female trained conductors. Definitely women trained conductors out there, and probably some non-binary trained conductors too. So I should stop being a bitch and acknowledge their existence. But anyway, the driver of this train is probably in therapy from that. They may not have ever been able to drive a train again. We don't know, but that's pretty cruel to throw at them, because there's a teenage rites of passage in this little town to say you have to walk across this train trestle.
Stop, much longer than the 772-foot trestle. Due to the track curving into the forest at each end, train operators also don't get a clear view of the trestle right until they're about to cross it. The train operator likely did everything possible to slow the train, but the situation was beyond his control. During an interview with a local newspaper, Wayne Gentry, a retired engineer for Norfolk Southern, said that the amount of people climbing on the bridge caused several other engineers to stop running the route over the Poplick Trestle. Some took jobs in the yard because of the trauma they experienced, he said. You see it happening in front of you. There's absolutely nothing you can do.
Right? And then for people to come at you about it and say, hey, because these teenagers got on the track in front of you, this is your fault, when you're already dealing with that?
This is just a few of the incidents that have taken place here at the Poplick Trestle. I couldn't find an official list of all the casualties that have happened here, but during my research, I found and read reports on well over a dozen.
Okay, yeah, Equus is talking about, looks like they've worked for a rail company. I worked on a construction project where the rail company reclaimed the abandoned tracks turned greenway. The local residents were really against it, but it was still rail company property. Where's that? The Atom Knee plugs start off much better. Every day and every way, you're getting better and better. Thank you, Spooky. I see. The ones I was referring to is in the LA area. We need more public transportation due to traffic congestion. So Metro has been reclaiming old rail beds. Engineers are automatically non-binary. Their gender becomes chief when they step into the engine room. Okay, well that makes sense. Thank you for clarifying that. There's no gender for conductor either. No, conductor can be either. The rail companies I've worked for were super strict about safety around the trains. So no cell phones in 20 foot of the tracks, for instance, immediately fired if you were caught violating safety. Many small rail links were shut down in the 60s here. In what was called the Beeching Report, he thought cars were the way to go. That way of thinking has kind of been detrimental to our environment the world over. A few places have kind of got the memo that public transit, public rail is maybe more efficient and environmentally friendly. Good morning, Sumami.
The amount of accidents that only resulted in injuries is also much higher.
I will acknowledge here that Norfolk Southern has been absolutely abysmal when it comes to getting good press, and in many cases it's justified. However, this is one of the few situations where it's not their fault. The railroad has put fences around both ends of the trestle and has put up plenty of warning signs. It's not the fault of the train operators either, as the average train takes much longer than the length of the trestle to stop. And again, it's a federal crime to trespass on railroad property, so engineers shouldn't be having to worry about if someone's on the tracks at all. I want to once again state very clearly that under no circumstances should you ever try to cross this
A Fruity Pebbles fiend, huh? It's monster cereal season, though. We got Blueberry and Count Chocula in there in the kitchen.
bridge. While the Goatman may not be real, the death and tragedy that has taken place on the Poplik Trestle is very real. This video took a lot of work to make, so if you enjoyed it, please leave a like and consider subscribing. I'd greatly appreciate it. Also, if you want to read more about the Poplik Trestle and the Goatman, I'll have several of the articles I used while researching for this video linked in the description below. Thanks for watching.
Deep in the forests of Maryland, there is said to exist a creature so terrifying and so violent that its name is still used even today to scare young children and adults.
Now we're in Maryland. Maryland has a Goatman too. Is the Maryland Goatman sexy?
Alike. While he is commonly laughed at when mentioned, there are those who lock their car doors, particularly when driving down Fletchertown Road at night, a road where the Goatman is said to patrol for his victims.
Ooh.
The first mentions of the Goatman may have been whispered between the locals as early as the 1960s, but his first mention in the media came about in the 1970s in the local Prince George County newspaper. The article describes some old folklore that was known in the area by generations past, including the Goatman himself, but also another creature known as the Boa Man that also lurked in the woods.
The Boa Man?
Amongst these two creatures were said to be ghosts and spirits that served to haunt the woods and caused distress upon those foolish enough to be found there at night. 2 weeks later, the same newspaper printed an article about a family with the name Edwards who'd lost their dog named Ginger. The article goes on to explain that after a thorough search by the family, the body of their dog was found lying on the side of Fletchertown Road, its head savagely torn off. It would become one of the first modern incidents that would become associated with the Goatman, particularly when...
What about a Goatman makes it seem like it would tear heads off? Clarification would be nice.
When the Edwards' 16-year-old daughter and her friends claimed to have seen a large creature near their home the same night that their dog had gone missing. Pretty soon, there were a string of reports of an obscure-looking animal that walked on two legs, all of which were seen along Fletchertown Road. The Goatman would soon find a much larger audience to scare, however, when the Washington Post posted an article about Ray
I guess before we move on, let's look at these places, because I have the map, and I want to do the map. Alright, so we're not going to go to the Wendigo Island, Royal Island right now. So the first one was, what was it, the Poplik. What do we got here? No, we're going to get to that one soon. Where was it? It's not down here. I think that's Chupacabra. Poplik Trestle. There we go. Where was it? Oh, I was in the wrong state. Poplik was the one in Kentucky. I don't know why I was looking in. All right. So, let's look at the trestle. It runs from about there. About there. Okay. And there's a road that goes right underneath it. Look at that. So we can get our Goatman. Let's see if we can't get a different view. Oh, it kind of disappears into the forest, doesn't it? What about this way? If we go back out this way. Yeah, you can kind of see it. Probably easier to see in the autumn, maybe. Like
Oh, there you go. So I moved to where they took the pictures in the autumn. I'm brilliant, I tell you. Brilliant. I'm the smartest clown on YouTube. Yeah. Alright. So then we're going to go. The next one was the Maryland Goatman. So we need to go look at the Maryland Goatman. Which is right here. But we'll get to that in a second. Let's let him talk. Because it's going to go to this Beltsville Agricultural Center. Yeah.
Hayden, John Hayden, and Willie Gein, the three men responsible for finding Ginger the dog. It would see the Goatman become a more recognized creature amongst the likes of Bigfoot and a Loch Ness Monster. In fact, some have even cited the Goatman as being the Maryland Bigfoot, in the sense that the creature is both staggering to comprehend and yet totally elusive. But what is the Goatman? Or who is the Goatman? Where did it come from? And what does it want? Well, accounts describe the Goatman as being a creature that stands over 6 feet tall.
It's the silence. The clown pole. I'm not afraid of clowns, but don't like them either. It's just makeup, IMO. But I'm afraid of mimes for some reason, and they're clown adjacent. Yeah. It's the silence that freaks me out. Okay, yeah. If a four-limbed creature is a tetrapod, what would a six-limbed creature be called? A hexapod. Yes. Was just contemplating the many mythical six-legged creatures. Yeah, insects. So like a centaur's an insect. Because they have the 6 limbs, right? Yeah, there's so many dragons have 6 limbs, or some dragons do. Wyverns do have 6 limbs because they have the wings on their back. Demons generally have 6 limbs. Angels have 6 limbs. Anything with an extra set, with a set of wings that aren't modified from its other limbs, are yeah.
A creature that is literally half man and half goat. He's said to be pilose and sometimes foul-smelling, and in some accounts has a high-pitched squeal. He has curled black.
Me too. You have to work me up to it.
Horns, unkempt and unruly hair, and large claw-like hands. In other accounts, he is never seen without his trusty axe cradled in his arms. There are many variations of the
Goatman with axes has become an archetype. I wonder if that's based on this. Because like my favorite video game was Diablo 2, and one of the primary cannon fodder enemies that they send at you in waves are Goatmen with axes. They're called the Fallen. No, not the Fallen are the little Rakinishu dudes. I can't remember. The Goatmen. Yeah.
The Goatman of Maryland, which are passed down from generation to generation. More often or not, the Goatman is the Maryland Boogeyman, a mere fictitious creature that children use to tease each other with, or that parents use to scare their children into behaving better. But for others, the Goatman has a more concrete existence, and even has his own origin story. There are those that believe the Goatman was once a lonely old herder who kept himself to himself.
That's very similar to the last one, with it being, this was like a dude with the goats, and now he's the Goatman.
In the woods. However, one night, a few teenagers stumbled upon his herd and killed them. When the old herder found the bodies of his beloved goats, he went insane with rage. The sight of the goat's blood angered him so much so that it actually affected his physiology, turning him into the Goatman.
You know how when your livestock dies and you get so mad that you turn into a goat or a cow or a pig? That's how all these cryptids start, right? It's angry herder, angry cattleman.
Others believe that the herder turned to satanic rituals to help him overcome his grief, and that in an ironic twist, the devil turned him into a hybrid goat himself, a creature hell-bent on revenge against teenagers in particular. The telling of the tale fits in with the targets that the Goatman is said to prey on, with the exception of dogs and other household pets. Teenagers across
Goatman's gotta eat though, he needs his protein to be able to chase down them teens.
Maryland from the 1970s onwards reported several sightings of the Goatman, some of which were said to have been chased by the creature, which yells and squeals and makes hideous goat noises as he gallops after them. Others believe that the Goatman specifically targets lovers, and that Fletchertown Road serves as the perfect nucleus for this endeavor.
Fletchertown Road, Maryland. Okay. Let's have a look. Let us consult the maps. All right. Here is... Why is it all blue? That's weird. Okay, so here is... That's the place that we were just looking at, the agricultural place, though. This forest area is, I guess, where the creature is supposed to be sighted and whatnot. But let's drop down in here and give this Fletchertown Road a look. Okay. It's pretty heavily forested. But people live here. There's houses and stuff along the road. It's not like it's like middle of nowhere. There's residences. I guess everything looks... Why was that all blurred out? That's weird. That's suspicious. That was the Goatman. He was being blurred out. They're trying to hide him from us. Is there any Goatman crossing signs, at least, so that we know that there's potential that Goatmen could come running out of the woods at us? They're going to tell us to watch for left-turning vehicles, but not for axe-wielding goat people? There should be a city ordinance about this. I'm going to bring this up at the next city council meeting. I like this woody part, though. It is mostly a little woody road. And it runs from here. Ooh, to here. Along the Horsepin branch. And it runs right across that woodland area that we were just discussing a moment ago. Fix yourself. Damn. Yeah. Alright, back to the video.
Given that the road has a reputation as being a lover's lane. Teens and adults both have used the surrounding areas to park their cars, and given the seclusion of the woods, it makes for the perfect space to...
Hi, Sophia. Good to see ya. Anger turns you into a goat, hence the phrase getting their goat. Thank you for clarifying that, Ember. Bree, I love how you check the geography appearance of these areas that claim various legends. That's the whole thing. Yes, I'm not just tooting my own horn here. I am, but I'm the world's leading cryptozoologist. I'm the best cryptozoologist. I'm as far as people taking this stuff seriously and actually using proper investigation techniques. I don't know anybody else who does it better than I do.
Get to know one another a little better. Without the prying eyes of anyone, except the Goatman, that is. In some reports, the Goatman appears to be wielding a large axe, and pounces upon unsuspecting victims who are getting busy in the back seat. Reports claim that the Goatman smashes cars open with an inhuman strength,
He's just like Jason that way. He's like Jason Voorhees. You don't he's mad if you have sex or do drugs or drink alcohol.
Hacks away at doors, and even slashes tires to prevent his victims' escape. Other accounts claim that the Goatman is far more strategic and lures his prey out of their cars by making deliberate sounds, encouraging the lovers to exit their vehicles and investigate. In one of the more bizarre tales about the Goatman,
I would love to hunt Bigfoot and Dogman in the Adirondacks.
He's said to be the result of a terrible experiment gone wrong at the Beltsville Research Agricultural Center. Funnily enough, the theories about this grew to be so popular amongst the locals, and the tale began to obtain so much merit, that the research center actually came out to officially deny the allegations. Needless to say,
and that's where the heart was.
Goatman had become a teen.
If you look, that's where. This is the research center over here. And it's. I don't know if we can drop down in there. I don't know how close we can get to it. It is private property, right? So it's very closed off. Suspiciously closed. No, not really. It's just how private properties are handled on Google Maps. You can't always, they can't just go on there and start driving around a private research facility with their cameras on. But apparently they aren't making Goatmen there, which is unfortunate, because what's the point of running a agricultural research facility if you're not gonna make Goatmen? Am I right? Come on, Hive.
Obsession, and would see many teens who were out of their minds go Goatman hunting in the woods.
Out of their minds. All the teenagers went like cryptid and ghost hunting and stuff. I shouldn't say all of them did. They all wanted me to take them cryptid and ghost hunting and stuff when I was in high school, or to play Ouija boards in haunted houses and stuff. I was the witchy bitch, for better or worse.
It appears that despite these hunting parties, the Goatman remains a dark mystery that sits in the woods of Maryland and Prince George County. Many believe that the popularity of the Goatman was influenced by the car culture of the 60s and 70s, where cars gave young people the freedom to explore and discover the world around them. It was a time before the internet, and I imagine the only way to experience anything was to get out there and actually experience it. After all, you couldn't just type in
Teenagers liked the thrill of driving down a creepy road at night, looking for something spooky. That's, so many people do that. Get them Cryptic Corner t-shirts. You're absolutely right. That's an important promotion. Thank you, PC. Good morning.
Goatman in Google if you wanted to see the creature. And you certainly couldn't have a handsome British man explain it to you over YouTube. Please subscribe. No, you'd actually have to go out there and find the Goatman, and then it might have been too late as he buried his axe into your head. But in all seriousness...
as he buried his axe into your head. Eeyore, like that. Eeyore's a donkey, not a goat, silly. Aw, you silly auto-generated closed caption.
I can certainly see where the legends of the Goatman became solidified in the community's everyday life at the time, because it promoted adventure and the exploration of the unknown, both geographically and perhaps supernaturally too. Another idea that is said to have given birth to the Goatman was that students in Prince George County were said to have been learning about Greek mythology, and possibly the half-man, half-goat god Pan. It's entirely possible that the Goatman was created by a group of school kids who drew inspiration from their textbooks, and like the memes of today, it eventually gained traction and became a worldwide phenomenon.
That'd be my speculation, or fawns, or,
But let me know your thoughts in the comments below about what you think about the Goatman of Maryland. Is this just a teenager's fantasy, spawned out of boredom of the previous generation?
I'll give you a thumbs up,
or is there something hauntingly real about a half-man, half-goat creature that lurks in the woods, waiting for his victims? Maybe you're from Maryland and have some insights about the Goatman, or maybe you've encountered him yourself.
Ooh.
Let me know in the comments below.
If you've encountered the Goatman, please reach out to me at bugbot113@gmail.com, and I will entertain your story.
And don't forget to hit the like button, as this really helps the channel get noticed. Also, if you haven't subscribed, do hit that button, and don't forget to tick the bell icon as well to receive notifications.
Yes, I'm going to add Dear Woman to the poll. Eventually, she'll make it on the poll. Don't you worry. We will cover Dear Woman.
Notifications. Until the next time, guys.
I'm starting to feel like we aren't going to get through the Goatman. We don't need all this intro preamble. Where's the mouse at?
Legend down here in Texas. This one was actually featured on BuzzFeed Unsolved. However, what BuzzFeed Unsolved didn't get into was the actual history of this place. Not sure if it was just a little too controversial for them or what, but we're going to delve into that here today.
All right.
And I see Marty coming up.
Now this is the
so
Alton.
Let's go join him over.
And honestly, at this point, I'm not worried about running over. Since this is like a big topic, I can even divide this into 2 segments if I need to.
See anything? Any evidence of satanic activity? Any ghostly activity?
Just demented stuff written on the bridge.
What? Like yourself?
Pretty much.
So where we're at is the old Alton Bridge, which is actually a historical marker here, but a lot of people know it as Goatman's Bridge. And as I said, there's some history, some interesting history as to how it came to be known as that and the legend behind it. According to legend, back in 1938, a very successful goat farmer in this area was killed, was basically hung by a group, by an angry mob over the side of this bridge. Now, as I mentioned before, it is a somewhat controversial story, and
okay, she's alluding to racial reasons being why this guy was hung, but I guess you can't really. She thinks you can't really just say that on here, but I'm gonna say it. Yeah, a lynch mob killed him. But the old Alton Bridge. Is this it? Yep. All right. That's right here. How close we can get in on it. It's a historic monument now. Yeah, you can't really get too close to it. But let's see if we can get a 3D look at the area. So it was replaced by this bridge. But it doesn't seem to. It seems to be a walking trail now, or part of a walking trail. Old Alton Bridge Trail. Yeah, you can see the trail right there. And it goes all the way up through here. So you can get out there, but it's probably a better idea to start from the trailhead instead of trying to get off the highway to get down there. Where is the trailhead? I found it yesterday, but it goes all the way up around there. Gracious. Anyway.
Given that we are in the deeper south, we're in Texas. With that, I think you can pretty much surmise what the real story is. Because of YouTube's policies, I really don't want to get any more explicit than that. Obviously, then, because the person...
Come at me, YouTube, for talking about the well-known and well-documented history of lynchings in Texas. I'm not afraid of you, YouTube. That's just history.
A heinous and violent death. It is believed that his spirit now haunts the bridge. Now, there was...
You did not miss Shangri-La or Shambala.
Mention that there's demonic activity that occurs here. How that came into being, I really don't know. Whether or not it's true, though, is suspect. People have said that there really isn't anything factual historically that can prove that that story really happened. So again, it's legend, and I'm just sharing that with you because I think it's kind of important to relay the information or how the legends came to be. I suspect a lot has to do with the culture of the people and picking somebody out as somewhat of a scapegoat. No pun intended there. Is probably how that
wow. Was that a goat sound effect? You're talking about lynching with goat sound
so far, I haven't
effects.
seen any evidence of any ghostly happenings, any demonic action.
Texas really doesn't like history. That's why they don't like our history books.
Here at the bridge. And I know some of you are going to dispute it by saying, well, it's broad daylight. Well, you know what? Ghosts and demons don't rest just because it's broad daylight. If anything, the activity happens any time of day. It's just people are more apt to notice it at night because, you know, you're in the dark and your senses are all heightened and people are afraid of the dark for some reason. What the heck? I just got stabbed in the finger by these thorns on this vine here. Maybe something really doesn't like me being here. I don't know.
Just, you know, there doesn't have to be a sign from something supernatural, really. It could just be, you know, ouch, I poked myself with a thorn.
Why people have developed this legend over the years. This is kind of a creepy setting with all the overgrowth and the leaves and the, I don't know, just kind of got an eerie vibe out here. Well, I haven't set foot on the bridge yet. They made a big production about it on BuzzFeed Unsolved, so I don't know if this thing's like known for not being safe or what the deal is.
It looks pretty well maintained, honestly. It looks like it's been, you know, had the planks replaced within the last few years.
Oh, seems alright to me. I don't know what the big deal is.
It's part of a walking trail. They're not going to put an unsafe...
But they seem really scared about going up on the bridge. Man, it's just a legend, guys. Come on. I'm not gonna let a little Goatman legend scare you, are ya? I'm not.
I like her boots.
If anything, you gotta be watching out for the holes, though, in the planking, because I'm pretty sure... Yeah. My foot could
you could
there.
trip in there,
you
for
know
real.
The story, Marty, of how this
I think the intention is that you're supposed to walk on the tire, the tire planks.
Bridge got its name. You want to hear it? Well, actually, it does relate to a goat farmer. Marty has made some observations that are rather interesting, and I don't know if they play into the fact that this place is supposedly riddled with demonic activity or the ghostly apparitions, but strangely, there are padlocks linked to the side of the bridge, to the bracing on the bridge, in different spots. I mean, and not just padlocks, we're talking some combo locks here, like a gym lock.
Obviously, this is where the sissies put their locks after they graduate, right?
Or type lock. So that's really bizarre. Well, looks like we found some other stuff over here too. Well, I can understand the cross being there. What do you make of that?
I don't know what it's for.
Well, I'm pretty sure Goatman did not leave that signature.
Goatman's the one doing it, of course. Goatman likes locks.
Okay, I can totally understand the cross. I mean,
exactly. She's acting like she's in the middle of nowhere. She's like, the city made this a historic monument and maintains and has a walking trail across it.
This is supposed demonic hotbed of demonic activity. Of course, the cross would come into play because somebody's thinking that would help protect the bridge, protect them, whatever. But as far as the locks go, I don't know. If you know, let me know in the comments section below. Jeez, after reading that, just kind of got a little bit of the heebie-jeebies.
She must have been out drinking the night before.
I need to see the Goatman.
And the typical graffiti over here.
Oh, yeah.
Truck.
I mean, that's just standard graffiti, though. Where's the cool satanic graffiti?
Rhymes with truck. Starts with an F. Rhymes with truck.
You can say that on YouTube now, too. Fuck. I've been going for an hour and a half. I still have 2 more Goatmen to cover, lady.
Plus, this is all the graffiti underneath the bridge.
Hell yeah. Goatman graffiti. That's what I'm looking for.
surprised there aren't any like homeless people hanging out underneath here. This seems like it would be a prime spot for that. Don't you think, Marty?
Homeless people don't really like to live in more rural areas, though. They want to have access to infrastructure. I mean, there are off the grid homeless people for sure, but I don't know. Under a rural bridge in a on public land. I mean, depends on what state you're in. Texas doesn't like that kind of stuff, though. I'll tell you that right now. Like, El Paso is full of aggressive architecture. That's one thing different between El Paso and Las Cruces that we noticed.
Homeless people?
We're going to Crystal Meth.
Or that. Yeah, this doesn't look like a spot for ponies, rainbows, and unicorns. Anything sparkly. You ain't gonna find wiener dog puppies down here.
Why not?
Yeah.
I want to ride a pony down there dressed in rainbows with a wiener dog puppy just to prove you wrong.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, crack pipe sounds about right.
But no evidence of hauntings.
Is that South Park Jesus behind her?
Ghostly, no apparitions so far.
There's a
you brave enough to summon the Goatman there, Marty?
Penis and a pentagram.
Legend has it if you knock 3 times up on the bridge, Goatman.
Knock 3 times on the ceiling if you want my love. Do it. Get you some Goatman love, baby girl. He's not even looking. He ain't even paying attention to you. Get yourself some Goatman love.
Show up. Well, sightseers, fortunately, we're gonna have to close this out rather quickly here. Marty's all of a sudden not feeling good, so not sure if it's related to the legends here or something else is going on. If you enjoyed the vid, give it a big old thumbs up. It's free. Leave a comment down below and
yeah, I'll give you a thumbs up. Thank you for taking me on a tour of the bridge. Here's another Texas Goatman.
In the town of Lake Worth, Texas, there exists a legendary creature known as the Goatman of Lake Worth. This half-man, half-goat hybrid is a staple of local folklore, captivating the imaginations of believers and skeptics alike. The story began in the scorching summer of 1969, when a brave couple claimed to...
In the summer of 69. Okay. Lake Worth. Okay. We'll go for a minute.
Have come face to face with this fearsome beast near the shores of Lake Worth. The couple's encounter sent shockwaves through the town, as their tale was as strange as it was unbelievable. They recounted how the Goatman displayed its astonishing strength by hurling a tire at their car, leaving a lasting impression on their minds and on the bumper of their vehicle. Thus, the legend was...
What a weird collection of pictures of shirtless men riding horses.
...born, soaring to new heights as it spread from person to person like a Texas wildfire. Descriptions of the Goatman varied, but one thing remained consistent. It stood tall and proud, a towering figure reaching about 7 feet in height. Its body was said to be a perfect blend of man and beast, with a muscular...
That looks like a horse goat, or goat horse. Not a man.
...frame covered in either shaggy fur or glistening scales. As if plucked from the depths of an ancient mythology, the Goatman possessed goat-like features...
This is a scaly Goatman, not a furry one. You're starting to wonder if your heart has strayed from Mothman to Goatman. Goatman is really sexy, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, definitely not a prime spot. About the previous one, Jason says definitely not a prime spot for homeless people. I used to live with them, and they're more likely to be found inside city limits. Yeah, there's usually a part of the city where you'll find the homeless will congregate.
Such as cloven hooves, majestic horns, and eyes that shimmered with a fiery red glow. Legend had it that the Goatman claimed the wooded areas around Lake Worth and its domain, particularly the mysterious Greer Island. This territorial creature harbored a fierce temper and would not hesitate to exhibit its...
All right, let's go look. I don't think this AI really has anything to do with it, but we're going to look at the map. Because Lake Worth... Get my bearings here. Is not all that terribly far from Alton Bridge. It's right over here. And Greer Island is not that one. Goat Island. They literally call it Goat Island. I don't know about Greer. That's not Greer Island, is it? That's too small. I'm assuming it's the Goat Island. I mean, I don't make assumptions, but that seems it would be prime real estate for a Goatman. But we can't like drop down in there or anything. We can get on the shores right here. But not super close. You can kind of see the Goat Island right there. I think that's the Goat Island. No, I lost it. Where's the Goat Island? Here we are. Okay. So welcome to Goat Island. It's not very spacious, but a goat would probably thrive here if it could just eat foliage and be left alone. The island's pretty well isolated for being in the middle of an urban area. And forested too, which would, you know, provide some layer of protection. And there's an area that's not forested too. Let's drop our flag in Goat Island. Goat Island's now my favorite vacation destination.
Aggression when intruders dared to venture into its realm. Beware, for the Goatman's wrath knew no bounds. Tales of sightings and close encounters with the Goatman were abundant throughout the years.
Are those supposed to be Goatmen too?
The creature attacking passing vehicles or engaging in rock-throwing escapades. There were even daring boat-bound souls who claimed that the beast had leaped aboard their vessels, testing their mettle with its chilling presence. Massive waves of fear and anxiety washed over the locals, making them think twice before venturing near the notorious Lake Worth. News of the Goatman spread far and wide.
These are no longer Goatman. That's a Goatman.
Media outlets hungry for gripping stories to share with their viewers and readers. The Lake Worth Goatman became the talk of the town, peppering newspapers and television broadcasts with thrilling reports. The legend grew, fueled by the collective imagination of a mesmerized public. Of course, with such a mysterious creature came heated debates and scholarly speculation.
I am not going to turn my back on Mothman for Goatman. Goatman. I don't know why we couldn't be a polycule.
Goatman to be a supernatural being, a creature straight from the depths of Texas' wildest nightmares. Others offered alternative explanations, suggesting the sightings were merely misinterpreted encounters with known animal species or elaborate hoaxes orchestrated for attention. The truth lay hidden, obscured behind a veil of unknowingness. But no matter the truth, the Goatman found its place in the heart of Texas culture. It became a staple of local folklore, inspiring countless legends, ghost stories, and artistic creations. Today, as you wander through the picturesque town of Lake Worth, Texas,
literally Jimi Hendrix turned into a Goatman.
The Goatman's legacy lives on, forever enshrined in Texas folklore. Visitors and residents alike whisper tales of its existence, sharing stories under starlit skies.
I bet this video is from like 2 years ago. No,
although
1 year ago.
Although the authenticity of the Goatman may remain unproven, its significance
just based on the AI that they're creating here.
And allure endure, reminding us that sometimes the greatest wonders lie beyond what we can comprehend. So I invite all of y'all Texan adventurers to...
That is the creepiest island, Sumami. Jason says, if you like creepy islands, check out Fort Carroll in Baltimore. It's a hexagonal concrete island that's an abandoned fort near the former Scott Key Bridge.
Embrace the Goatman's legend with a twinkle in your eye and a smile on your lips. For whether real or imaginary, the Goatman adds a touch of magic to the folklore of Texas.
Is the rest of this just going to be... Yeah, okay. We're done with that.
Gentlemen, due to a story last night, I feel the need to break an order I was given. and tell you about the Missouri Goatman. Now, I'm a chemical guy, and we all go to Fleet Dot Lost in the Woods to do training. This happened...
That's Fort Lost in the Woods. It's Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri.
During an FDX out in the woods, next to a ridge and a large stream bed. Every night, there is a roaming guard of 2 privates, and we have our gay little blank adapters, and we just roam around, making sure no one is having sex. This happens one night when me and a buddy of mine are posted up on a couple of stumps by one of the light
You and
systems.
your buddy were having sex?
They drag out there. About 0300,
Hot.
me and my pal are set up onto the lamps.
Having sex and drag. Sweet.
Soaking in the warm exhaust because it's 25 Fahrenheit outside, and fuck if we were going to be moving. We were watching the tents, joking how if anyone was going to do the nasty, it'd be difficult due to the cold, etc. Nudge buddy, tell him to catch a nap. He lolls off and is snoozing. Snow slowly drifting down through the trees. Peaceful. Just kind of staring into the woods when I hear that crunch of snow. Extremely faint. Had to perk up my ears to make it out. Think to myself, there's no way somebody is going to freeze his nuts to some girl's ass. Must be a drill sergeant. Nudge my buddy awake. Tell him there's a DS in the woods. He pokes up. We are both watching the woodline. Sure enough, we see a shadow come in from the woodline, crushing low. Amazing he can be this quiet in the snow. We both grin. Last time this happened, they dragged someone out and tied them to a tree for shits and giggles. The shadow gets well within the camp line, crouching really, really low. Looking back, it was weird. A tent rustles, and the shadow instantly stands up to full height. Fucking idiot, almost 7 feet tall, and it has goddamn horns on his fucking head. Buddy and I sucking our breath, and our eyes are wide. This isn't a fucking DS. The whatever it was opens a tent flap real slow. Peeks inside. At this time, my buddy has found the little radio we were given in case we need to contact the drill sergeants. Buddy is freaking out and trying to get them out here, which causes them to freak out and come ghosting out of the fucking shadows. They startle us and my buddy yells. We hear a loud grunt. All our heads turn to see this goat thing dragging a goddamn private.
And it's hard to trust anything coming from 4chan image boards, but...
It has a female private. It has her leg. Holy shit. It's dragging her out to the camp. Nothing really happens for what feels like hours. Just this surreal fucking stare down. A female DS screams out a war cry and launches herself at a full sprint at it. The rest of the DSs pull out their pistols and charge down to try and get the private. He hop up and run down, scrambling to grab the chick and haul her away. The DSs have taken off to chase whatever it was away from the camp. As we are dragging the chick away, the entire camp is up now and setting up a perimeter around the HAA and chow tent. 2 areas that have constant light. Tense as fuck. Everyone has their bayonets in their hands. DSs come back an hour later, looking worse for wear. Everyone loads up in the Humvees, and we get the fuck out of there. Apparently the drill sergeants had chased the damn thing over a creek, at which it took off into the underbrush. The female soldier was okay. Whatever it was,
I don't know if this is from... It's from some image board. It looks like 4chan, but I don't know.
It out, but didn't seem phased and had simply made the DSs carry fully loaded M4s for the next rotations. Oh, big scary goat man? Nah, don't worry about it. Here's bigger guns. Yay, army. And there are tons of these stories of people just tearing ass out of the woods in full kit, blubbering and get discharged due to mental instability. I myself only have one other story, and this is from a friend of mine who went to MP.
Yeah, that's... So, I actually had a friend who was stationed at Fort Leonard Wood, but Fort Leonard Wood is in southern Missouri. It's right here. And it does have a lot of woodland around it. Like, when you get down actually into the base, there's a lot of open forest land for your casual goatmen to run free in and scare soldiers. But if you bring ladies out to the woods where there's goatmen, they're gonna wanna fuck. That's how ladies get around goatmen, and that's how goatmen get around ladies. It's been that way since ancient Greek times. We know that. We know that ladies and goatmen, they're like, I mean, there's not much to be done about it, right? Okay, so that was our cryptic corner. That was our cryptic corner about goatmen. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope that it did run on a little longer than usual, but there was a lot of goatmen to cover and more goatmen to come. So there will be maybe we'll do the Anasazi goatmen of Mexico. You know, maybe we'll do some Latin goatmen. Maybe we'll do some European goatmen. I don't know. But you'll have to tune in to find out. Now, the polls will be up. The polls will be back up, so you'll be able to vote on what we do next week. The 3 returning choices are the spook lights, the Men in Black and the Mahamba giant crocodile, but there'll be something new on the list too. There will be a skunk ape on the list because we're adding skunk ape to the polls this week. So make sure you go out and vote. And yeah, until next time, please remember to be kind and take care. All right, live from the Hive. That wraps up Cryptic Corner for us, but we still have some journeying to do to Shangri-La, Shambala. Yeah, to the mythical lost city somewhere in the Himalayas is the bottom line. I think Sumami's been waiting for this, but she's gonna have to wait just a couple of minutes longer because I need to take an intermission because I gotta refresh my drink and go potty. I'll be right back.
Back to the drawing board. Well, and you know, I love the Crystal Palace. I love the depictions, actually. You know, and I love the depictions like a Lost World, the old stop motion animations with because it gives us a picture of how science works. It gives us.
I'm an old guy, so I remember, and I was always into this cheesy old black and white movies older than me, and so I've seen all these different renderings of how dinosaur depictions have changed over the years. And I remember when they were upright walking, when their tails had to drag in a weird way, and very reptilian tails that wound around like snake tails, and they were slow, plodding, heavy breathing, not much energy, not much move. And then what it turns out that they are, and I was a little disappointed to find out that they were covered in feathers because that makes them somehow less dangerous looking. But the fact is that they had a means of absorbing oxygen, which, like birds do, they had fully avian skeletons with one-way ventilation, air sacs, and all of that. They were so much more efficient with the way that they could process oxygen that not only were they not slow and plodding, but they were pound for pound more energetic, more powerful, and had longer endurance than any mammal. So they were the supreme life form on Earth.
Oh, definitely.
And it's funny that we look at ourselves as the pinnacle of creation, and yet we are not. We didn't get any of the advantages that they have.
Looking into the air pockets in sauropod vertebrae and stuff like that, you can really see that despite their size, these weren't plodding animals. They were built as lightly as possible, but with as massive as possible.
When I say pound for pound, that's an interesting comparison because a Tyrannosaurus and an elephant may weigh the same, but the Tyrannosaurus is still bigger.
Right, exactly.
Because they were much more lightly constructed, and part of this, the efficiency of how they could process oxygen allowed them to be huge, and the fact that their bones were pneumatic also allowed them to be huge.
Yeah.
So that's why they were so damn big. The problem is that they also had a high energy consumption, and so they now have to eat quite a lot. All of them have to eat quite a lot to maintain all of that.
And we see it in the extant species, definitely with.
So birds managed to make it through the KT extinction because they were relatively small and versatile, and so they're the only dinosaurs that made it. And because they could fly, because not all the dinosaurs could fly. Pterosaurs could fly, but pterosaurs back then were also huge. The pterosaurs were once very, very diverse. They had all different kinds of niches. But then when they started sharing more and more with birds, they kind of compartmentalized so that the pterosaurs became the gargantuan flyers, the really big things, that they were much bigger than ever birds could ever be. But that also was their downfall because they were so freaking huge. They have these huge energy consumption needs, and so in a post-apocalyptic world,
which rule of evolution is that? That the more it's slipping my mind. The more specialized a group gets, the less options they have to survive an extinction event.
Yeah, I can't remember the name for that either, but you do get yourself painted into a corner.
Yeah.
So the more specialized you are, the more dependent you are on that speciality. You need to have the versatility in order to make it through the challenging circumstances.
And I mean, we've had some doozies of extinction events, and it's always these more basal forms that make it through.
Hello, my beauties and bees. Welcome to our weekend weird. I hope you all are all doing fine and enjoying. What I don't know. This, like I mentioned before, this will probably be out around Christmas time. So, hope you're having a lovely holiday. And me and my spooky season clown core doesn't off-put you from wanting to enjoy some weekend weird as we explore the lost city of Shangri-La, or as it was known before, it was fictionalized into Shangri-La, Shambala. And to start things off, first and foremost, I do want to I got a short little video here that we're going to watch on what exactly Shangri-La is, and then we'll get into the meat of the topic here. So this is more so for people who just don't know or aren't familiar with the concept. It's a lost city. It's not like a lost city that was like destroyed or anything like Atlantis or Mu or anything like that. It's a lost city that's supposed to be still operating and functioning somewhere hidden in the mountains of the Himalayas. So let's have a look.
Where the peaks touch the...
So we got some fake David Attenborough.
Deep within the vast and unforgiving Himalayan mountain range, where the peaks touch the sky and the air is thin, legend speaks of a hidden paradise, a place shrouded in mystery and wonder, a place untouched by the passage of time, where people live in perfect harmony with nature and achieve extraordinary longevity. Here, the rhythms of life are dictated by the seasons, and the wisdom of the elders is cherished. This mythical utopia known as Shangri-La has captivated the imaginations of adventurers, explorers and dreamers for centuries. Many have set out on perilous journeys driven by the hope of discovering this elusive haven. Its allure lies in the promise of a world free from suffering.
So I had to bump the volume a little bit.
Enlightenment. A place where the soul can find solace and the mind can attain clarity. But is Shangri-La merely a figment of our imagination, or could it be a real place hidden from the prying eyes of the modern world?
Sharks are older than trees. That is a fun fact.
The quest for Shangri-La continues to inspire and intrigue, leaving us to wonder if such a paradise could truly exist. The story of Shangri-La begins with James Hilton's 1933 novel, Lost Horizon. This novel has captivated readers for decades, painting a vivid picture of an idyllic and mystical place hidden from the world. In this classic tale, a group of travelers stumbles upon a secluded valley after their plane crashes in the Himalayas. Stranded and desperate, they embark on a journey that leads them to an unexpected discovery. They are rescued and taken to the lamasery of Shangri-La, where they encounter a mysterious and ageless...
The lamasery?
High Lama. This lamasery is unlike any place they have ever seen, filled with an aura of tranquility and ancient wisdom. The lamasery is a place of remarkable beauty, with lush gardens, towering waterfalls, and a library containing the accumulated wisdom of the ages. Every corner of this sanctuary seems to hold secrets of the universe waiting to be discovered. The inhabitants of Shangri-La possess an air of serenity and wisdom that is both alluring and unsettling to the travelers. Their calm demeanor and profound insights challenge the travelers' understanding of life and purpose. They age incredibly slowly, thanks to the mystical properties.
So this that does tie into I don't know if you all remember that we watched the Super Centurion, or we did the Super Centurion episode on Week in Weird. It's been a while ago now, maybe about a year ago. But that's a key component of a lot of Asian mysticism is longevity. They get in these mountain valleys, they have the secret of longevity, and you got to go there and learn it from them.
The valley and their practice of a unique blend of Eastern philosophies. This agelessness adds to the enigma of Shangri-La, making it a place where time seems to stand still. The travelers find themselves torn between their desire to return to the outside world and the seductive peace they find in this hidden paradise. The decision is not easy, as the allure of Shangri-La's eternal serenity competes with the pull of their former lives and responsibilities.
While James Hilton's Lost Horizon introduced the concept of Shangri-La to the Western world, it's important to note that the novel's themes and imagery draw heavily from existing Tibetan Buddhist traditions.
And from Shambala.
Hilton's work, while fictional, taps into a rich tapestry of myths and legends that have been part of Tibetan culture for centuries. Specifically, the myth of Shambala, a hidden kingdom said to exist somewhere in the Himalayas, bears striking similarities to Hilton's fictional creation. Shambala is often described as a paradise, a place of peace and tranquility, shielded from the chaos,
which is more what we're going to get into in just a minute,
of the outside world. In Tibetan Buddhist tradition, Shambala is not merely a physical location, but also a spiritual realm. It represents an ideal society where harmony and enlightenment prevail. It is said to be a place where wisdom and compassion reign supreme, ruled by enlightened beings who safeguard the teachings of the Kalachakra Tantra. These teachings are considered to be among the most profound and esoteric in Tibetan Buddhism. According to prophecy, a future king of Shambala will emerge to vanquish evil and usher in a golden age. This prophecy has inspired countless generations, offering hope and a vision of a better future. Like Shangri-La, Shambala is said to be a place of extraordinary longevity and spiritual attainment. The inhabitants are believed to possess advanced knowledge and abilities far beyond the ordinary. Both myths speak of hidden valleys, advanced technology, and a society that
I'm just letting her go. I'm letting her go because
has transcended the limitations of the material world. These elements capture the imagination, suggesting a utopia where human potential is fully realized.
That's a cool city.
The similarities between these two mythical realms have led many scholars to believe that Hilton's Shangri-La was directly inspired by the Tibetan legends of Shambhala. This connection highlights the enduring power of these myths and their ability to inspire and captivate across cultures and generations.
All right, so that's just a basic rundown of what Shangri-La is and its derivative of Shambhala. Most people agree on that. So who's ready to be mad? Who's ready to get mad now that we know that this is, part of a ancient Tibetan tradition that's very spiritual? Who's ready to get mad when Robert Zephyr decides to throw his hat into the ring? Because according to Robert Zephyr, this was an ancient Aryan kingdom. Let's get gross. It's going to be gross, guys. Yikes. Of course, he has to film himself walking around. And in traditional Robert Zephyr style. I hope Robert Zephyr sees this video. And when he does, he's like, who is this clown?
The legend of Shambhala is said to date back thousands of years, and references to the mythical land can be found in various ancient texts. The Bond scriptures speak of a closely related land where peace and joy are the fabric of being.
Not just any European, Robert Zephyr. So, and to be clear, before he gets too far into this, let's go over here. So, the Tibetan plateau. It's all this section in here. There's, you see Tibet there. It goes all up through here. Yeah. Tibet's not tiny. It's been appropriated by China, but to be clear, Europe's way up over here. They want to say there was this. Robert Sefford's going to tell us that there was a secret kingdom of white people in here, though. So, yeah, it's not great.
Hindu texts such as the Vishnu Purana mentions Shambhala as the birthplace of Kalki, the final incarnation of Vishnu, who will usher in a new era. However, the text in which Shambhala is most extensively discussed is the Kala Chakra, where it is said that only those who are karmically worthy may enter. The 14th Dalai Lama noted during the 1985 Kala Chakra initiation that, quote, "We can only say that it is a pure land in the human realm, and unless one has the merit and the actual karmic association, one cannot actually arrive there." Shambhala, or Shangri-La, is said to be the land of 1,000 names. It has been called the Forbidden Land, the land of...
Well, I mean, some of that's like merging other people's mythology. Anyway.
White waters, land of radiant spirits, land of living fire, land of the living gods, and land of wonders. While it appears in Buddhist legends, the myth predates Buddhism and was known to the Chinese as Si Tian, the Western paradise of Si Wang Mu, and to the Russian Old Believers, it is known as the Kingdom of Epona. Old Believers refers to Eastern Orthodox Christians that maintain ritual practices as they were before the year 1666. I'll cover them in a future video. That said, in Sanskrit, the word Shambhala means place of tranquility, silence.
Yeah, I mean, right now it's going to be fine. Just reading, like you said, reading from Wiki, just giving a basic rundown of what it is. But he's gonna decide it's white people. You just wait and see.
Or happiness, and later by the Tibetans translated to the Happy Lands. It is also mentioned in the ancient text of the Zhangzun culture, which predated Tibetan Buddhism in Western Tibet. Over many centuries...
Yeah, if anybody could help out right now, that'd be great. I gotta... I need to... I don't want to, like, beg right now, but I need, like, $150 by tomorrow, and it's kind of stressing me out. So if anybody wants to go to the Buy Me a Coffee and drop... That's the doing it here is not going to help me, unfortunately, but... if you were able to donate anything at the Ko-fi link, Buy Me Coffee, I'd appreciate it. It helped me alleviate some stress because we're moving and I need to have my stuff still set up. But I digress.
Numerous explorers and seekers of spiritual wisdom have embarked on expeditions and quests in search of the mythical paradise of Shambhala. And while many have claimed to have been there, no one yet has provided any public evidence of its existence or been able to pinpoint its physical location on a map. However, most references place it somewhere in the mountain regions of Eurasia.
Mountain regions of Eurasia? It's Tibetan. It's in Tibet. Right? It's somewhere in these mountains, not... What's he talking about? Mountains of Eurasia. Is he talking about down like Kazakhstan? That's not even. I guess you could call this Eurasia. I don't know. When it gets to the collision between the Indian continent and I'm being pedantic now because I don't like Robert Saffer, but when it comes to it's definitely in the Himalayas, right? Thank you. That's what I was getting at. Not just roughly in Eurasia, because, I mean, this is all Eurasia. All of it, from here to here, from way up here to all the way down. Now, I guess this is, I don't consider this Eurasia, but I'm sort of pedantic about that, because this down here is mostly its own continent. the Southeast Asia, south of the mountains. It has more in common with Africa than it does with these, and these have more in common with North America than they do with that. But we'll get back to the video.
The founder of the Theosophical Society, Madame Helena Blavatsky, claimed to have been in touch with a Himalayan occult brotherhood.
Oh, Blavatsky time.
That passed on some of these legends to her. Shambala is said to have been ruled over by a king or benevolent monarch who, according to prophecy, will emerge to usher in a golden age when the world declines into war and greed and all is lost.
Bro was chopping a hole in the ice to wash his hair. That's kind of badass. Not gonna lie, that's pretty cool.
To some, he'll be accompanied by a large army, presumably living inside the mountains or inner earth, and vanquish the
You ever walked barefoot on the ice too? That burns your feet.
World rulers. As with many concepts in the Vajrayana Buddhism, the idea of Shambhala is said to have an outer, inner, and secret meaning. The inner and secret meaning refers to more subtle understandings that represent spiritual attainments and are generally passed on orally.
It hurts I've walked barefoot on the ice. It hurt my feet. Aunt Jer. There's a Trishula on a little shrine behind him. That's for Shiv. Okay.
The outer meaning understands Shambhala to exist as a physical place. There are various ideas about where the society is located, but it's often placed in Central Asia, north of Tibet. Tala Pragada Subaro was a student of Blavatsky's from a Hindu background who in 1882 published an article personally addressed to Helena Blavatsky where he says, quote, "The real esoteric doctrine as well as the mystic allegorical philosophy of the Vedas were derived, perchance, from the divine inhabitant gods of the sacred island."
Is he going to acknowledge that Blavatsky was like channeling stuff? Like she wasn't like talking to somebody. She was like channeling. Because doesn't Robert Suffer try to sell himself as like a scientifically grounded individual?
Which, as you say, once existed in the sea that covered in those days of old the sandy...
Like he thought he could go toe to toe with like Eric Getzik-Gibbon and Kaylee from History with Kaylee. He thought he was like able to like go toe to toe with them in expertise, but now he's sitting here appealing to psychic channeling as historical evidence.
Tract now called Gobi Desert. However that may be, the knowledge of the occult powers of nature possessed by the inhabitants of the lost Atlantis was learnt by the ancient adepts of India and was appended by them to the esoteric doctrine taught by the residents of the sacred island.
Oh, so Shambhala is populated by Atlanteans now. They're a white people. Yeah, is this making you mad? Sumami? I figured this would make you mad.
Madame Blavatsky claimed that ancient Aryans inhabited parts
Ancient Aryans, here we go!
of Asia in antiquity, and nearly a century after her death, tall blonde-haired mummies started turning up in the deserts of China, dating back 4,000 years, centuries before any East Asian people inhabited the area.
So, no matter what your hair color is, right? Whether it's black or blonde or red or brunette, whether it's pink, if your body mummifies, if you die and your hair is preserved, it will turn different shades of like blondie orange color, because that's what happens to hair when the pigment fades out due to exposure. So it's not like to say that because the mummy has blonde hair or because the mummy has red hair that the person that it came from was blonde or ginger. But people like Robert Suffer love to appeal to that idea.
While the Chinese Communist government tries to downplay these ancient Aryan mummies with Caucasian features, they also do their best to hide the numerous pyramids which litter the Chinese landscape by planting rows of trees on them in an effort to make them less visible from above.
Why? What's the claim here? Because they don't want to. So he's claiming there were white people in China too.
They can still be made out, however, using Google Earth, aligned exactly as the pyramids of Egypt are, with the familiar top point missing. Blavatsky claimed that much of their ancient sacred knowledge survived hidden as symbols in many modern religions, but is misunderstood by the majority of the public. Shambala's...
My opinion, and it's just my opinion, is that Shambala was Shambala was inside of you, right? That it wasn't an actual physical place, but it was inside of us. And that during this, I guess, what would you call it? Second wave mysticism? Or second wave spiritualism? Eastern spiritualism? I don't know. During this wave in the early 20th century, maybe late 19th, early 20th century of Asian mysticism, decided that it had to be a real place that they could go find and pillage, because they had already pillaged the entire subcontinent of India and on into the east in Myanmar and the coffers of China. They had the Aztec Empire was long since drained of all its wealth, and Africa was proving a little too problematic and dense to continue the conquest too deep. So let's turn our attention to Asian lost cities of gold. Not to say that they've stopped looking for lost cities in Africa or South America at this time, but
location and nature remains a subject of much dispute, and several traditions have arisen as to where it is, including those that emphasize it as a non-physical realm.
I'm not even joking. Like the Mughal Empire before the European conquest, I rant about this all the time, was most of the wealth in the world was in India. Almost all of the wealth in the world was in India. The rest of the world combined couldn't compete with how much. And not to say that that they didn't appropriate that from surrounding areas and stuff. Sure, there were wars in ancient days as well, but the Mughal Empire was so extremely wealthy that the entirety of the conquest of the, I don't want to call them kingdoms, of the provinces, I guess is the best way to put them, of South America that had been indigenous since they drove the Spanish out in the early 19th century. The conquest against these places was completely funded by wealth stolen from India. Just gonna put that out there.
That one can approach only through the mind. While Mongolians identify Shambhala with certain valleys of southern Siberia, Blavatsky herself alluded to a physical location closer to the Himalayas, possibly as a mountainous entrance to an inhabited inner earth kingdom known to some as Agartha. Whether this inner kingdom exists or not, she also maintained that on the surface there was once a sea where the Gobi Desert is, which also had an inhabited island.
Was the Gobi Desert a sea? I think the Gobi Desert's been a desert for a long, long time. When is the claim that it was a sea?
Find it interesting that there's considerable evidence that in remote antiquity, many parts of the earth that are now desert were once very lush or even submerged below large bodies of water.
Yeah, the Himalayas were definitely sea, but that's the wrong. You're looking at the wrong side when you talk about oceans covering the Himalayas, because when let's see, I'm gonna go back to the maps. Okay, so this was a big island, right? India was a big island. I think Myanmar was part of it too, but definitely the whole of India, right? And it moved from here at the fastest I think we've ever seen a continent move throughout Earth's history. But when it collided here, this was the ocean floor, right? All of this right here was ocean floor. I don't know how far up to. I know at least up to this lake district right here, right? And when you see maps of it, this is where the crumple zone is. Okay, and glaciers run off into there. But I digress. So when it ran into there, it pushed the seafloor up. So this was all formerly seafloor, and now it's on the mountain. When you talk about the Gobi Desert, you're way over here, right? This is the Gobi region. Totally wrong side of the mountain range.
That said, in response to the publication by Mr. Subaru, which I read earlier, Helena Blavatsky wrote the following in regards to the legend and its origins. Quote, "To ascertain such disputed questions, one has to look into and study well the Chinese sacred and historical records. A people whose era begins nearly 4,600 years back, a people so accurate and by whom some of the most important inventions of modern Europe and its so much boasted modern science were anticipated, such as the compass, gunpowder, porcelain, paper."
We know where all that stuff came from when it wasn't from Shambala.
Printing, etc. Known and practiced thousands of years before these were rediscovered by the Europeans, ought to receive some trust for their records. And from the Lao Tse down to Huan Tsang, their literature is filled with allusions and references to that island and the wisdom of the Himalayan adepts. In a katana of Buddhist scriptures from the Chinese by Reverend Samuel Beil, there's a chapter on the Tian Tai school of Buddhism, which our opponents ought to read, translating the rules of that most celebrated and holy school and sect in China founded by
rediscovered, yeah.
Chin Che, called the Che, the
anything that brown people did before white people actually know. Ancient white people did it in a secret valley in the Himalayas. That's the message that we're getting.
Wise one, in the year 575 of our era, when coming to the sentence which reads, quote, "That which relates to the one garment worn by the great teachers of the snowy mountains." The European translator places after the last sentence a sign of interrogation, as well he may. The statistics of the school of the Hemavatas, or of our Himalayan Brotherhood, are not to be found in the general census
Hemavatas
records of India. Further, Mr. Beale translates a rule relating to the great professors of the higher order who live in the mountain depths remote from men, the Aranyakas, or hermits. So, with respect to the traditions concerning this island, and apart from the historical records of this preserved in the Chinese and Tibetan sacred books, the legend is alive to this day among the people of Tibet. The fair island is no more...
Well, I mean, the legend of people raising from the dead and walking on water and stuff's alive in Western society. It doesn't mean it really happened.
But the country where it once bloomed remains there still, and the spot is well known to some of the great teachers of the snowy mountains, however much convulsed and changed its topography by the awful cataclysm. Every 7th year, these teachers are believed to assemble in Shambala, the Happy Land. According to the general belief, it is situated in the northwest of Tibet. Some place it within the unexplored central regions, inaccessible even to the fearless
At
nomadic
least they're
tribes.
not saying, oh, it's vaguely in Eurasia.
Others hem it in between the range of the Gangesri Mountains and the northern edge of the Gobi Desert, south and north, and the more populated regions of Kunduz and Kashmir, of the Gaya Peling, and China, west and east, which afford to the curious mind a pretty large latitude to locate it in. Others still place it between Namur Nor and the Quen Lun Mountains, but one and all firmly believe in Shambala and speak of it as a fertile, fairy-like land, once an island.
Well, I mean, it's a prosperous land.
Now an oasis of incomparable beauty, the place of meeting of the inheritors of the esoteric wisdom of the godlike.
Is the claim that India, when it was an island, had white people and then it collided with that's a take.
Like inhabitants of the legendary
hello, John
island.
Hudson. Hello, Theo.
In connection with the archaic
hello, Titan.
Legends of the Asian
hello, Ian.
Sea and Atlantic continent, is it not profitable to know a fact known to all modern geologists, that the Himalayan slopes afford geological proof that the substance of those lofty peaks was once part of an ocean floor?
Yeah, but like millions of years ago, right? Not like when there were people around. Is Robert Suffer a young Earth creationist now? Or young
While many
Earth guy?
disregard Shambhala as the fanciful subject of myth and legend, for others, a belief in Shambhala stirs an inner yearning to one day find this utopian kingdom. My name is Robert Sepper. I'm an anthropologist. My published work is available on Amazon.
You're an anthropologist who believes in psychic history, like channeled history, or alternative history, I should say, because it's not real history.
Books make a great gift. If you'd like to support my work, you can do that through patreon.com. There should be a link in the description.
If you have to give somebody a Robert Suffer book for a gift, make sure you get it at a thrift store or a used bookstore.
Description section for those who are interested. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Please hit the like button and subscribe for future updates. As always, I look forward to reading your thoughts, so please leave a comment below. Have a wonderful weekend, and I hope to see you again soon.
He's an anthropologist. That works. Alright, so there is a city in China that they renamed Shangri-La. Is this it right here? No. Where did I put it? I stuck a pin in it. I think it's maybe down here. Yeah. Yeah, here we go. So they renamed the city Shangri-La, mostly for tourists, I think. It's a beautiful city, though. Let's drop down and have a look. And we'll see why people... In China, this is in China, it's in Yunnan province, which is the eastern part of what you should traditionally call China. Yeah. But we'll drop down in here and look around just a few different spaces. If my little guy will fall in. There we go. Oh, we're in a market. Yum. I'm hungry. But I didn't want to fall down into a market. There was a part of the city I was looking at before that was really pretty. No. Though this is pretty. That is pretty. Except for those disembodied legs are a little discomforting, but Let's see. Maybe it was more up in here. Oh, this isn't the view I was talking about, but yeah, you get an idea of the cityscape. Just a modern city. It's nothing fancy about it. I mean, well, it is a fancy. It's a nice city. It's not a bad city. But I want to see the mountains. Ooh. Now this is more like it. Look at that. That's some fancy temples and stuff. Look at the big double doors. Hell yeah. Let's do more of that. About right here. Oh yeah. Look at that beautiful landscape. Very mountainous and gorgeous. Yeah, China and its gulags. I'm okay with that. The boss said to reveal the bugs are reluctant to leave the coffee shop. Do you have another means one might bestow blessings upon you? I have a Cash App if you wanna send it that way. Yeah, I can. There you go. It's in the side chat. Let's see. There was a mountain view that was beautiful. Now I can't find it. But I want you guys to see how beautiful this valley is before I wrap up. Because it's no joke gorgeous. And it was much more green than this. Oh. I zoom out. I swear it was down in here, though. Maybe it was over here. No, but that's pretty, too. It wasn't brown like this, though. See, I should have stuck a pin in it. I was like, I'll remember where it is. It was right in the middle. I said, I'll remember where it was. It was right in the middle of the city. And every place I try to drop down in the middle of the city. Oh, my. Well, that's beautiful. Oh, my goodness. That's beautiful. Frogs. It just says frogs. Well, anyway, this guy visited the city.
Neither am I, but I have a good lung capacity, so it's no problem for me. But after those stairs, I'll admit, you can get out of breath pretty easily.
Look, that's cool.
Now, from a distance, this thing looks motorized, because it's just spinning all day, non-stop. But what's actually happening is people are holding the rails down there, doing laps.
Cool.
You're supposed to do 7 laps. That's some type of prayer. Some drama has ensued because someone's tried to turn it the wrong way and stop the whole show. They're back in business now, though.
Thank you, Sumami.
Time to go find out how heavy this thing is. Oh, it's stopped again. They need my help.
Do it. Get on there, bro. Spin it.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's heavy as fuck, actually. Now, if you spin this with an uncalm mind, you won't get the benefit from it.
I want to go spin it.
It's supposed to help you further achieve enlightenment. Each full circle is the same as reciting the prayers on the wheel itself.
Yeah, I only made it about 3 circles.
Yeah, I would like to spin it.
So maybe I need to hit the gym. I'll admit though, despite the over-commercialization, and I mean a lot of commercialization, guys, like fast food levels in America.
KFC.
Want to meet you.
Want to meet you unexpectedly.
Unexpectedly. Pizza Hut. Good lucky. Oh, and the Tibetan Apple Store.
Shangri-La is as beautiful as the name implies. Even the shrines are more prosperous than other Tibetan cities, with the offerings consisting of quite expensive alcohol, which is quite the contrast if you come from a place where the Buddhists don't drink very often. But let's move on. I worked up an appetite spinning that giant...
I love roof architecture in Asia. Just what like the types that the pagodas have. Like that's what we're seeing right here. I don't know what it's called. It's there's similar Slavic architecture too. Like when you look at Eastern and Northern European, in the eastern parts of Northern European houses and stuff. It's really cool and ornate.
So let's go see what kind of local Tibetan food we can find in the old town. This time, I think skipping the Tibetan Pizza Hut.
There he is. Let's get a good look at his face. That is an unhappy looking face. That's good enough for me. And reasons like that are why you don't get the yak sashimi. We have nice fermented yak yogurt. That's the scraggliest fucker. I've never seen scraggle like this. I've been waiting for this moment since the last time we were in Tibet. We got the Tibetan yak pizza.
If you've had a yak pizza, in the comments, tell me how it was.
It's pretty good. Yeah, I was able to translate the reviews for this thing, and the reviews were great. But I actually have no clue what it is.
Yeah, traditionally it's spun.
Kind of looks like ravioli a little
50
bit.
to 80 times before you eat one.
Like a pasta.
After lunch, I visited one of the most important monasteries for Tibetans. Cameras aren't allowed here, but I took some clips anyways. Don't tell China. Although, somewhat deservedly, my audio actually failed for all of it. Maybe that's karma. Either way, I wouldn't have been able to show much on YouTube anyways, because the Tibetan art here is quite unusual and particularly vulgar, with demon-like Buddhist creatures committing violent sexual acts, skeletons, organs, and decay being a common motif in this particular complex. For now, it's time to leave the mythical city of Shangri-La though, and head south, where I'll soon leave Tibet for another very bizarre stop.
That car behind me is in the way of that car.
All right, so that was a visit to Shangri-La, and then of course Robert and Steph were trying to reframe the history of this very sacred to Eastern Asian traditions, trying to appropriate that into his Aryan nonsense. Appreciate you for sticking around. Do you like talking about lost civilizations and lost cities? Should I continue to include those on the polls? Let me know. What lost city would you like to see on the poll? Give me leave it in your comments down below. Please remember to be kind, take care, and we'll see you next time. All right, live from the Hive audience. Do not leave me now. We are getting down to the end of the show, but I still have a whole segment about dingoes eating babies coming up next. So I don't want to lose my audience before we get there. That's what the thumbnail was for. All right, I do have to go potty though, so I'm going to go ahead and kick it over into the final intermission, and we'll get back and wrap up the show with Breeze Bestiary. Continue with the Autumn of the Maneater, where we are covering dingoes. Hello, and welcome to Breeze of Bestiary, the show where I pick an animal from the animal kingdom and talk about some aspect of its influence on anthropology, I guess is the best way to describe it. But it's really just me picking my favorite animals and talking about them. And I've been on this kick since the start of summer where I've been talking about known man-eating animals, animals that eat, that have a history of eating humans or have habitually eaten humans. Now, today's topic is an animal that a lot of people might disagree that it's a man-eater, but, you know, if they've been documented more than one occasion of eating people, I would say it is a habit, if not a bad habit. So, we're going to talk about a famous case, a dingo ate my baby case, of Azaria Chamberlain, a 2-month, well, she was 2 months then, like she was older than that when she was eaten, but let's unpack this, because it's kind of a murder mystery.
1980, 2-month-old Azaria Chamberlain disappeared while on a camping trip with her family. Her mother, the only witness, would claim the girl was killed by a dingo. The investigation into the death of Azaria Chamberlain gripped the world and was immortalized in the movie A Cry in the Dark, which popularized the phrase, "A dingo ate my baby." And if you've watched Seinfeld, you know this quote quite well.
The dingo ate your baby.
Today, we're going to take a look at the strange case of Lindy Chamberlain, the woman behind the line, "The dingo ate my baby." But before we get started, be sure to subscribe to the Weird History
Yeah, we're going to talk about the baby that got eaten by the dingo
channel, and leave us a comment and let us know what true crime-related topics you would like to hear more about. Okay, so let's head down under. Born in 1980, Azaria Chamberlain was the third child and only daughter of Lindy Chamberlain Creighton and Michael Chamberlain. They were known as a quiet, religious family, and they belonged to the Seventh-day Adventist Church. They also enjoyed camping, and in August of that year, they decided to take a trip out to famed Uluru Rock in Central Australia.
All right, it's time to visit Uluru Rock. So we've been from... Now we're leaving Southeast Asia and going to Central Australia to Uluru Rock. It's got road all the way around it. We can see it from multiple angles. I think from out here is where it looks the best, though, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I am mistaken because that's too low to the ground. What is that? A freaking tour for ants? Try from out here. Whoosh, whoosh. Ah, there you go. So it's a big old formation. Some of the oldest parts of the world that still remain, right? Pretty cool. But it's not all deserty either. Like when you get up over into here, into this gorge area, and there's caves at Uluru, but there is like a marshy area over here. See, all marshy and wet, and there are caves we can see pictures from. Yeah, I don't know if we can get down there to look at them like this. Oh, we can. Cool. Yeah, you can get up in the caves. They're super shallow, it looks like, but they are caves. Anyhow, let's
The night of August 17th, Azaria, then only 9 weeks old, vanished from her parents' tent. A panicked Lindy and Michael alerted the authorities. The young mother told the police that she saw a wild dingo enter her tent and take
I would not go camping with a 9-week-old. I wouldn't.
Child. Extensive searches were conducted, but nothing to substantiate Lindy and Michael's story was found. Just 1 week.
Yeah, Jason has a dingo. You got a Carolina dog, right? My dingo almost ate all of us last night. She was way too excited when we came home and we were almost perished. I'm glad you survived that excitement.
After Azaria Chamberlain disappeared, a tourist named Wallace Goodwin made a shocking discovery. A short distance from where the infant was allegedly taken by dingoes, he found a blood-stained jumpsuit, singlet, booties, and a diaper. Forensic investigators would later examine the clothing and conclude that someone had ripped the jumpsuit after young Azaria had perished. Goodwin, for his part, maintained that he never touched the clothing, which he had found with the legs of the jumpsuit sticking up into the air. Mr. Goodwin had more to contribute, though. As a frequent camper in the area, he also reported a change in the behavior of the local dingoes. He had noticed the animals had begun approaching campsites without any hesitation. This was extremely unusual, as dingoes were typically known for avoiding interaction with humans whenever...
Probably because the humans are feeding them, yeah. That seems to be a problem.
Possible. In the wake of Azaria Chamberlain's disappearance, a search party of nearly 300 people assembled. Led by a frantic Lindy, the group scoured the surrounding landscape for any clues as to where the baby may have gone. Michael Chamberlain, on the other hand, was reported by witnesses to be quite calm and, by some accounts, didn't even participate in the search. One member of the search party reported Michael musing over the alleged dingo attack and concluding she's probably dead now. He then allegedly made cryptic comments about...
If your baby's dragged away by an animal, though, and it's been hours, yeah, I can assume that the animals dispatched the poor child and began to consume it at that point. So what makes this a formation like that is that layer flopped over on their side. I guess like a big inclusion, right? Like a big inclusion sticking out of the earth. Well, we can look it up. Yeah, she's a Carolina dog, the American cousin of Australia's dingoes. They came over here 10,000 years ago. She's still sort of wild. Yeah. Oh, I'm familiar with, I know pariah dogs are a global phenomena in tropical and subtropical regions, right? That these dogs that have been, I mean, there's much indigenous to North America as the indigenous peoples, right? And they came over around the same time with the same people groups, and they also traveled south to Australia, the dingoes, and to New Guinea, because they got the New Guinea stinging dogs. But there's parts of India where there's still pariah dogs, parts of Africa where there's still pariah dogs that are, they're indigenous dog species, or dog breeds, I guess would be the best way to put it. They're not wolves anymore. They're dogs that were, their ancestors were domesticated by humans and then went back into the wild with their newfound, I don't know what you'd call it, intelligence?
Being a minister of the gospel. The first official to rule on the case was the coroner, and he ultimately agreed with the Chamberlains, finding that a dingo had taken their daughter. However, he noted the bloody clothing that had been found by Wallace Goodwin showed signs of having been tampered with by a person or persons unknown. A second inquest was opened in September of 1981. This time, investigators claimed they found suspicious markings around the neck area of Azaria Chamberlain's jumpsuit. Ultraviolet photos of the jumpsuit were taken and examined by analysts who claimed to find the imprint of a small, adult-sized hand. The photos and the markings strongly implied that someone had slit the young girl's throat on purpose. Accordingly, Australian police arrested the Chamberlains, and in February of 1982, they were charged with the murder of their own daughter.
They were found guilty.
According to the prosecution's theory of the crime, Lindy Chamberlain Creighton was holding her daughter in the front seat of the family car. Police claimed to have found traces of blood in the vehicle, and though a murder weapon was never identified, authorities suggested the killer could have easily used ordinary household items like nail clippers or scissors to get the job done. Years later,
Slitting someone's throat with nail clippers. Oh,
additional testing
that
of
sounds
this
rough
pivotal evidence
and slow
would reveal that there wasn't actually any blood in the car. In fact, the original investigators had merely mistook some harmless chemicals on the car's interior for blood splatter. Their error would cost Lindy years behind bars.
Yeah, she literally spent time in prison because of it.
By the time she and her husband were being tried for the murder of Azaria, Lindy Chamberlain Creighton was visibly pregnant. She and Michael both entered pleas of not guilty, setting the stage for what the media would call the trial of the century. The tabloids went into a feeding frenzy, and the widespread coverage ensured that the courtroom was packed by spectators every single day. Over the course of the trial, the prosecution argued that Lindy had knifed her daughter and her husband had helped to cover up the crime. The Chamberlains, for their part, maintained...
Why would she knife her daughter? They have it's satanic panic. We'll get into it.
...story about the Dingo. Unfortunately, the jury didn't buy it. In October of 1982, Lindy Chamberlain Creighton was convicted by the Crown Court of murdering her daughter and sentenced to life in prison. Michael Chamberlain was found guilty of being an accessory after the fact and given an 18-month-long suspended sentence. With Lindy in prison, her second daughter, Kalia, would be born behind bars in November of 1982. Whether it was because of the pervasive media coverage or the fact that at the time of Azaria Chamberlain's disappearance there were no known cases of dingoes attacking or killing humans, the public became thoroughly convinced that Lindy and Michael had some culpability in their daughter's death. A poll conducted in 1984 showed nearly 77% of all Australians felt Chamberlain Creighton was guilty of Azaria's murder. Public opinion felt she was dressing too provocatively and not grieving the way a proper mother should. Chamberlain Creighton would reflect
too provocatively. Such weird purity culture nonsense.
On her situation years later, saying that she was caught in a lose-lose situation. If she smiled, she was accused of not taking the matter seriously enough. If she cried, she was accused of playing to the cameras for sympathy. Another factor in the public's distrust of Lindy and Michael was likely their religion, as Seventh-day Adventists were extremely rare in Australia at the time. Rumors circulated that the couple was part of a cult and had sacrificed their daughter for some unholy religious purpose.
Satanic panic, we're in the 80s after all.
Conspiracy theorists jumped all over the case and claimed that the name Azaria means sacrifice in the wilderness. If it were true, that would be a slam dunk of a case, but the name actually means God helped. Ah, conspiracy theorists. Always loud, rarely right.
Trill. Fucking satanic panic, though. It ruined lives. We're in, like, the new wave of satanic panic right now.
In January of 1986, something finally happened that changed everything about the case against the Chamberlains. A British tourist named David Brett had been hiking near Uluru when he slipped and fell to his death. It would take a week for the police to locate his body, but when they did, they also found something else, a baby's jacket. Tests would show that the white jacket was the same one Azaria Chamberlain had been wearing 6 years earlier on the night she vanished. With this new evidence seeming to corroborate everything the Chamberlains had ever claimed, the court ordered Lindy to be released from prison. After all that, Lindy and Michael were officially cleared of any guilt.
Exactly. A dingo eats a baby, the public. But what was the mom wearing?
In the case. In 1988, Warner Brothers released the movie A Cry in the Dark, which starred Meryl Streep as Lindy and Sam Neill as Michael. This performance would earn Streep a nomination for Best Actress at the Academy Awards.
Jodie Foster, The Accused.
Meryl, for once, didn't win, but the movie still left its mark. The film features a moment where the Lindy character is seen to proclaim, "The dingo's got my baby."
The dingo's got my baby!
Despite its grisly origin, this quote would, strangely, become a comedic staple of pop culture, being referenced in TV shows Seinfeld, Modern Family, The Simpsons.
I think I hear a ding.
I think the reason it became a catchphrase was because with Meryl Streep doing it, and she's doing an accent, so she's doing an impression of an Australian saying that, making that statement. And everybody else who hears her do an impression of it saying, hey, I wonder if I can do an impression of an Australian saying that. And it was kind of spun out from there.
You're eating your baby.
2.5 Men, Family Guy, Frasier,
That dingo's got your baby.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Supernatural, and Psych, as well as the films Tropic Thunder,
I'm sorry, a dingo ate your baby.
28 Days, and the Rugrats movie.
A dingo ate your baby.
It's a hell of a list. In 1992, the government of Australia's Northern Territory made compensation to Lindy and Michael. They were awarded $1.3 million, as well as reimbursement for all their legal fees and for their car, which had been seized by police and destroyed as part of the investigation. But the damage had been done. An innocent woman who saw her own child
don't get those years back
eaten by a wild animal was dragged through the mud by the press, ridiculed by the public, spent 3 years in prison.
Hi, Mrs. Desk.
For a crime she did not commit. And she missed out on the first few years of her second daughter's life. Even after all of that, in December of 1995, a commission from the Northern Territory decided it wanted to take a third look into the case of Azaria Chamberlain. The reasoning was that the body had never been recovered and medical examiners had never been able to determine the baby's cause of death. A
baby, a 9-week-old baby's, the canids are gonna take care of that pretty quick. The only thing that you would maybe expect would be teeth, but a baby that young wouldn't have any. So
inquest was opened, but it ultimately yielded no new insights or findings.
Yeah, if you're gonna go camping, don't bring your baby with you. It just.
In 1980, there were no documented cases of dingoes attacking humans, infant or otherwise. While this predisposed the media, court system, and the general public to suspect foul play in the case of Azaria Chamberlain, things would change in the years that followed. Australians began to pay more attention to the possibility of dingo attacks on humans, and lo and behold, more evidence came to light. Between 1998 and 2007, there were at least 3 documented instances of dingoes attacking humans. A 13-month-old and a 4-year-old were attacked in separate incidents, but both survived. However, in the third incident, a 9-year-old boy was killed by the animals.
If they think they can kill you, they will. They're trying to survive and eat, so keep your youngins close. Coyotes will do it too, and we'll get there. We'll have a coyote stories. Because coyotes and dingoes fill that same niche when it comes to predation on humans.
Since the night it first happened, Lindy Chamberlain Creighton and Michael Chamberlain steadfastly maintained that their daughter, Azaria, had been taken and killed by a wild dingo. Finally, in June of 2012, after 32 years enduring public suspicions, official accusations, defamation, and prison time for a crime they didn't commit, a fourth
Is there no double jeopardy in Australia? That's a good question.
inquest was opened. This time, a coroner from the Northern Territory provided expert testimony that the parents were innocent, and it was, in fact, a wild dog that had taken the young girl from her parents' tent. Contrary to what had happened the first time around, the public accepted the findings, and Lindy and Michael were believed to be innocent. Though they were divorced in 1991, both Lindy Chamberlain Creighton and Michael Chamberlain were present.
I can't imagine marriages hold up to a dingo eating your baby too well, huh?
Lindy told the media,
"We're relieved and delighted to come to the end of this saga."
So what do you think? Did mob mentality make this bad situation even worse? Let us know in the comments below, and while you're at it, check out some of these other videos from our weird history.
Yeah, and like dingoes are still... Dingo attacks Drogger on Australian beach. Yeah, they're pack hunters too. So they'll, if they think that they can isolate you and you're small enough, a pack of dingoes has injured a woman who was jogging on an Australian tourist island in the latest clash between humans and native dogs. Officials say 24-year-old woman was attacked by 3 or 4 dingoes in Queensland State's Groggy. The incident sparked warnings from officials about visitors venturing out alone. Please close gate. Always stay with children. Be dingo safe.
Sadly, she was. It seems to have been corralled and attacked by a pack of
a number of dingoes, ranging from about 3 to 4 that we understand. She was corralled into the water. Thankfully, a bystander came along with his vehicle. He was able to get to her and access her and get her into the vehicle and be able to get her away from the dingoes.
Well, I'm glad they got her away from the dingoes. The victim was flown by helicopter to a mainland hospital in a stable condition after suffering multiple bite wounds. So this is an adult person, right? A 24-year-old. I don't know if she was smaller or what, but yeah, they will eat you. Dingoes will eat you. Coyotes will eat you. Take caution. You know, take care of your people when you're out camping. Yeah, coyotes will be mean. They're hungry. All right, so that was this week's Breeze Bestiary. Next week's is... Let me see. I'm just filling time with my bow. Let's see. Next week. Ooh, American alligators. American alligators. We're gonna visit Disneyland, it sounds like. Yeah. So, Breeze Bestiary next week. Thank you so much for tuning in for it, though. And please remember to be kind. Take care, and we'll see you next time. All right, and live from the Hive family. Thank you so much for all the support that you give me. I don't know what I would do. I don't know what I would do without y'all. Honestly. So much love and appreciation. Actually almost got enough to cover my bill, so all right. I thank you. We've been through, today was a wild ride. We had Sexy Goatman, then we went to the Himalayas to look for lost cities, and then we went to Australia where our baby was immediately eaten by a dingo. I hope this wild ride was fun for you, and she'll be re-attending my circus next Saturday. This coming Monday, though, it's going to be me and Bo, and he's going to help me do a ritual, too. We're going to do a ritual, and we're going to talk about a satanic cult, an actual satanic cult, a for real one, that did for real kind of black magic stuff. So come check that out. But yeah, until next time, please remember to be kind and take care, okay? Much love.